take my hand off. No, I need the hat. I need the hat to keep the light out of my eyes. I don't have great eyes. Okay, so it's Shabbat morning. It's about 8:30, a little more than 8:30. Beautiful day. Last night the bombing stopped. I don't know, 9:30, something like that. And Netanyahu made some announcements which were nothing new, expressing his determination. And I'm trying to get my coffee situated right here. And we found out this morning that the bombing continued rather steadily during the night and substantially too. This morning I'm not really hearing very many aircraft in the skies over the Galilee, which were Israeli planes, and it's pretty quiet. Hezbollah piped down. I think we had next to no rockets or no rockets last night. Ground invasion has not begun. Biden expressed an interest of having Israel wait on the ground invasion until the Gazan people could remove out of the north of Gaza where the ground invasion is planned. Now I hear one plane. The planes are down by 2/3, so we still hear them, but not much. Israel said rest. I think we all needed a big rest. Hezbollah did not attack us. The Arabs are reporting, I translate from Arab media, from social media. The Arabs are reporting that a lot of military assets from America are being moved into Israel. They claimed last night that 2 UK Royal Air Force jets were flying over Lebanon, and I said I don't know if that's true. I don't know why the Arabs would put that in the media except to, throw mud on the UK, and I've never heard anything about that. I'm 99% untrue. The delay could be due to a comment Biden made. Israel leaders don't fully understand the implications of this ground invasion, and what he means there is other Muslim terrorist groups in different regions near Israel will rise up against us. They've already begun mobilizing. Hezbollah doing nothing. My analysis on that is a little complicated, but here it goes. The wild card in the plans of Hamas, Hezbollah, Syria, Iran, Yemen were confused and thrown into disarray by the aircraft carrier group Gerald Ford showing up in the Mediterranean off our shores. 6 escort vessels and the largest, most powerful aircraft carrier in the world. The Dwight D. Eisenhower aircraft carrier group is chugging over here, and I'm thinking they may arrive today or tomorrow. And they're additional backup for the American forces in case things go bonkers, like Iraq sends a lot of terrorists into Syria to attack Israel. Iran's already in Syria in the east, and they move to the border of Israel, and we have Hezbollah forces in Syria and Hezbollah in Lebanon, and they all start demolishing Israel with rockets as best they can, if they can effect this demolishment. They do have some pretty decent long-range rockets. We know that. Hezbollah says they have 250,000. What we don't really. I mean, the Israeli military might know, but we don't know what they have and how many of them are Katyushas, which are pretty. They go 8 to 12 miles. They're not very dangerous, and you evacuate the area by the border. That's all. But they do have some that could hit Haifa, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and so forth. Okay, how many we don't know. Probably hundreds, maybe thousands. I don't know. Um, we know that Israel tanks and special forces entered into Gaza yesterday. We know that there's a large network of underground tunnels in Gaza that Hamas is using. They call it the Metro. It extends over many miles of Gaza underground. We tried blowing up the tunnels yesterday, I think, with some success using bunker buster bombs, which the Hamas was commenting about our new bombs. I'm sure they came from America. What the success of the bombs used on the tunnels was, I don't know, but it wasn't major because they were still launching rockets into Ashkelon yesterday and caused a lot of destruction. Israel is not so bummed out about waiting as long as they could shut the rockets off from Gaza that are hitting Ashdod and Ashkelon, which is right neighboring the northern part of Gaza. And that's an immediate goal, and I think the Americans really understand that. And if it has to be a ground invasion to get that accomplished, that's it. I think the Americans want to wait for the Dwight D. Eisenhower to be in theater, which, like I'm saying, at this point today, they might be within missile range, but I'm pretty sure sometime today or tomorrow they'll be here. Look, it's about a 7-day journey, maybe even a little faster, from Norfolk, Virginia to Israel. Behind the Dwight D. Eisenhower is the George Washington Nimitz-class aircraft carrier, same as the Dwight D. Eisenhower, and it's chugging towards the Mediterranean also. Will it go off the coast of Israel? Will go to the Persian Gulf? We'll have to remain to see. America may not be 100% committed to where they're going to place it yet. They're going to watch. Okay. Iran went to Beirut, Lebanon, and they went to Syria, the Iranian foreign minister yesterday. Oh, it's another plane. So the planes are maybe picking up a little bit, which means the bombing could be intensifying in Gaza or getting ready to do so, to intensify. I'm up in the north, in the lower Galilee, close to Lebanon. So the planes flying around here, if they have to kick the afterburners on, they could be inside southern Lebanon in seconds, under a minute for sure. When they fly around over here, they're out of the. Now it's another plane, so it's picking up. So something's going on in Gaza, because the aircraft is becoming very frequent again. Now, as I've told you before, I hope you can hear the planes. Let me make sure the volume is up. I told you before that it's very easy for us here in Israel to recognize Israeli and Arab planes because the Arab planes don't sound like that. When they're flying over Israel, this is what they sound like. And a lot of black smoke. My attempts at humor. Okay, so the situation with the ground invasion in Gaza is rather complex. Hamas is most likely discouraging, and to what extent, I don't know, of the Gazans leaving Gaza to go to the south. They can't get into Egypt. Egypt doesn't want them. That's probably not going to change. okay? The UNWRA, which is part of the UN, has them in, I don't know, 250,000 or so in various shelters they have in Gaza, which they probably told Israel not to attack. But we have to also be very careful because the UN typically in Gaza and Syria and so forth is not pro-Israel, and the Hamas might be storing weapons and soldiers in these shelters. They don't care about the Gazan civilians. They treat them as a shield against attacks. On my Telegram group yesterday, I posted some videos the Hamas released showing them holding small infants and toddlers, 2-year-oldish, 3, 4, whatever, and holding them and saying this is their shield against an invasion. In other words, what they're saying, if the special forces kick our doors and come in, they're going to wind up shooting the babies before they get us. They would rather see the American or Israeli forces kill the hostage babies than they do, because they're pretty mindful of public relations, and as sick as that may sound. So the way they think, just holding the babies up as a shield, and the Americans who Israelis shoot them, it's very bad for the Americans and Israelis. The fact that they'll probably start shooting at the invading troops is, of course, off the table. But the hostage rescue effort will be far more sophisticated than just sneaking up and kicking the doors in and trying to shoot them before they hurt the hostages. Hostages are very likely in tunnels. Hostages are very likely in, maybe 5, 10, or 15 places or more. We don't know. The one place they showed us had, maybe 8 children in it or something. So they're spread around. I mean, they're not that dumb. Okay, be able to move. They're not that dumb. Okay. It's a real nightmare of a problem to rescue those hostages, which is extremely important to Israel, the people, and the government. And the Americans have this as a very high priority as well. And let me tell you, it's a problem. As a kid, I was in law enforcement, and it's a super problem. I mean, they could have these hostages with bomb belts, and one guy just hits a button from another room and blows them all up. They could have a room of 15 or 20 hostages with 3 or 4 guys with AK-47s, and in, I would estimate, under 5 seconds, they can kill everybody in the room. And that would, be as soon as they realize they're being breached. There's many more sophisticated ways to it. Once Russia had a hostage situation in like an auditorium, like a concert or something like that, and they just used gas to put everybody to sleep, the hostages and the terrorists, and it worked. That was an actual event. It must have been 15, 20 years ago. It was with Putin. It was a long time ago. But it did work. You go to a bank robbery and you surprise the 3 bank robbers in there with typically pistols, and they got hostages lying on the floor with twist ties on them or something like that, and they say, well, we'll kill the hostages, and we want to get out of here, give us a car, give us this, give us a hill, whatever they ask for, right? And these are common criminals. Now, these are people that don't want to die, and these are people that don't want to spend their life in prison. They don't want any lethal injections. You're dealing with a different character. So they surround the bank and they call the bank on the phone and they start talking. They try to figure out what they're doing. They get snipers and they try to line up shots on these guys. And, they wear them down. They may take hours. They may have pizza and hot dog deliveries with soda and coffee. They'll start saying they want some hostages released in good faith and this and that. Listen, these bank robbers are, in law enforcement, terms, they're cowboys. They need money bad, and a lot of times they'll be on drugs, sometimes not, many times they are, and they have ill-contrived plans that are sloppy, and they don't know what they're doing, and they get tremendous fear. Now the other side of the fence in Gaza is you're looking at look, you can talk to the bank robbers, and when they realize that there's snipers out there, they start shining red dots on them, and there's 87 cops surrounding the place, there's helicopters, there's news reporters. What Arnold and Sylvester Stallone do in the movies is not what happens, okay? And they begin to get the reality of the situation that if they haven't killed any hostages or bank employees, the best thing for them to do is surrender and not getting out of this. And they might be, get 10 years and get out in 3 or 4. They're going to, have a life ahead of them. Once they kill a hostage, they're all complicit in, kidnapping, murder, all of this, and they're likely to spend their life in prison if they're lucky, This is a different character. This is a jihadist that believes they're going to be martyred to heaven if they get killed for the cause of getting the land of Israel back to their God. So they're not going to respond to any of this, but more importantly, they're trained. Bank robbers, where do they get their training? Well, when they're in jail, most of them will have priors. First timers don't often go rob a bank. They might put a gun in their pocket and give a note to a teller and walk out of there with $3,000 or $4,000 or something like that. And the bank and everybody else doesn't really care that much about that, and then the police go after them. Eventually they probably get them because of the cameras and witnesses, how they got away, what direction did they go in, and stuff like that, These guys have been trained. They know the tactics. Iran security forces have trained them. Other countries, they understand the tactics, okay? And, all right, enough barking, stop it. Stop it! And they are not going to, go easy. They're going to want demands. We'll give you hostages. We want 3,000 prisoners released from your jails that are terrorists. This is the way the dialogue will go, which is pretty insane. Now, they're not in a bank holding hostages. These people are in Gaza, in a bunker someplace, and they got sophisticated weapons. They got support. They got cameras outside the facility, and they probably going to see the people coming, although without electricity now, I expect the camera network is down, so that's an advantage. These security forces are going to have thermal imaging, so if they're in a building, they're probably going to be able to see what's going on if they know the building. Now, if they're underground, the thermal imaging is going to be no value. So the situation is horrendously difficult for anybody. America, Israel, the UK, everybody. I mean, this is just a crazily, highly difficult situation. It's not easy. It's horrendously difficult. And that's a big priority with Biden and Netanyahu. They are completely agreed that this is a massive priority. But at the same time, shut up now! But at the same time, Beulah, come over here. Come. Come on, you're not shutting up. Come here. Come here. Come here. Hey, come here. She's stubborn. And I'm not going to go chase her. A lot of people want the dogs barking because of the threat of infiltration. Shut up! There's nothing to bark at. Shut up now! Get over here. All right, go home. Go home, Beulah. Go home. Go home now. I gotta get up. She's on a tear. Look, shut up. You got it? You got it now? Shut up. No, shut up. Stop growling. There's nobody there. Just shut up. A block away, a dog is barking, so she's lighting up. Shut up. So that's a big priority. Now, why is there a delay in the invasion? Because apparently there is a delay in the invasion. Now somebody's walking. Apparently there's a delay in the invasion. Why? Probably for the Dwight D. Eisenhower gets situated in theater. Because the Americans are concerned about a big blow-up. A big blow-up would be, Hezbollah launching massive missiles at the Israeli military and civilian population centers, which is going to cause a massive invasion of Hezbollah by the army of Israel that's already stationed on their borders. And that'll cause a lot of civilian problems in Israel. And that will probably rally Syria to do something, and it could get into, a massive world war. Do I think that'll happen? Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't really doubt that at all. But it might not happen today. So what Hezbollah's game could be is Iran told Hezbollah in Syria, look, the Americans got, incredible military might in the area with more coming in. So, why do it? Gaza's not savable anymore. Hamas isn't savable. They're martyrs. Let it go, and we'll be around to play again another day, and we'll surprise attack Israel. Now, Israel has a marked advantage when Gaza is disabled. Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and so forth. And then we don't have a south front and a north front. We just have a north front. So when you think about it, once we invade Gaza, will Hezbollah launch on us? Maybe. The ground invasion seems to be, to them, to the terrorists, that's going to be the straw that broke the camel's back. So does that mean we don't invade Gaza? No. Our immediate priority is to stop the missiles bleeding out. And they're not bleeding so slow. They were bleeding heavy yesterday into Ashdod and Ashkelon. It may have stopped. So we haven't had anything in, maybe 10 hours, or anything to speak of. So we may have planted special forces in Gaza when we went to visit them yesterday. And now I don't know this for a fact, I'm just thinking. How many? We could have put 200 in or something like that. Highly trained Israeli soldiers. They're really like Navy SEALs and Recon Marines. They're trained for at least a year. And we have 42 such different special forces that specialize in working in cities and woods with the water, Shayelet, our Navy SEALs. in snowy regions like mountains like Mount Hermon and Mount Safed. I mean, they're trained in every possible scenario. And a lot of these guys, have more than a year of training. So they could be doing a number of things. One is dressing like Arabs and creeping around, looking. A lot of our people get Arab language training, and they have it because mom and dad and grandma and grandpa came from the Arab countries like Morocco, Algiers, Tunisia, Iran, Iraq, and Yemen and all these other places. So they speak Arabic in the house, and they know Arabic, and they know real Arabic, not college Arabic. So they could wander around there and try to find hostages. They could mingle, and they could try to figure out where these missile launches are or how they're popping them up out of tunnels or hidden in buildings or wherever. GPS the coordinates, and then bombs come on that particular building. Okay? And that could be why the rockets have stopped. And also, when Hezbollah, when Hamas and PIJ, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, people pop their head out, you know, they've got sniper rifles that work with night vision, infrared, whatever, with silences, bump, pop, 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 and they drop them, you know. So that could drive the Hamas people underground. Now, Hamas isn't going to come out and do a news release. Well, we're writing you from inside our tunnels. The occupation snipers are killing us whenever we stick our head out like groundhogs. So they're not going to, say that, but that could be what's going on. America flew a squad of F-15s in yesterday. That's coming from Arab media. I think it's probably true. No, I think it was also Israeli. It's probably true. A squad is 18 to 24. So there were aircraft here previously. So America's building up the amount of aircraft they have. Here's the problem. If Hezbollah is going to pop its cork, which it probably will, there has to be overwhelming firepower to shut them down, the missile launches. And you're not talking, 50 planes. You're probably talking 200 to 300, plus artillery. So if they start a launch, probably, groups of 50 planes will go in at a time and drop their bombs. But you got to understand, from Israel, the flight time is a handful of minutes. Getting over the target package is not a problem. Releasing the bombs and shooting the rockets takes seconds. Then they turn around and they come back and they gas up and they put more weapons on and they go back. So you might have 4, 5, 6 groups of 50 going round robin, round the clock. In addition to artillery, in addition to rockets coming off of the aircraft carriers, which with 2 aircraft carrier groups, they're going to have 1,400 Tomahawk missiles, which are highly accurate, 500-pound warheads. They're very powerful. And the Hamas and Hezbollah, they have no countermeasures to stop that. Nothing. Okay? So it will it has to be very fast. And America has 2 landing ships here. They popped up off the coast of Haifa, and we saw pictures of them the other day. It wasn't announced, but the pictures were there. And each of these has up to 1,850 Expeditionary Force Marines with small boats to land on a beachhead. And they can bring armor with them, artillery, rocket launchers, armored personnel carriers, etc., etc. The boat also carries vertical takeoff planes and a pretty good assortment of helicopters, like Apache gunships and stuff like that. So the aircraft and Apache gunships would cover them, and they would do a beach landing in Gaza. and you probably got around 3,000 soldiers. That's significant. With incredible air support, the best air support the world can muster up, I would say, and missile support, and helicopter gunship support, and tank support. And now Hezbollah has a second front to worry about. You see what they'll do? So they got to worry about the Mediterranean, which they normally don't do much worrying about. The Gaza Navy, I'm sorry, Hezbollah Navy, they do have some sort of a navy. It would be, they may have to take the Navy out. And that if the Navy is moving towards the landing ships, they'll take the Navy out. There's not much of a Navy. It's child's play for America and Israel, too. We have the Navy, too. It's child's play. Ship-to-ship missiles and, air-to-ship missiles. It won't be a problem. They may not sink the ships. They may just disable them, like hit them in the rear where their rudder and their engines are, and let them floating around the water, or let them float around in the water. But they could shoot ordnance off those ships. It'll probably, sink them or severely burn them up or something. Then America's not going to expose their Marines to, jihadist fanatics that just want to go out and kill. They're not gonna do that. And now they're on the beach, and Israel's coming up through the border between Lebanon and Israel. In the air, the skies are full of all kinds of drones and missiles and planes and helicopters attacking them. After, I would say, 5 minutes of this, they'll be thoroughly confused and bewildered. After an hour of it, they won't be in their right mind. And some damage could be done. And I think that's why America wants to wait, so they could have overwhelming firepower. America doesn't like to get itself outgunned. Okay? The only thing Iran could do is bring tanks and troops into Iraq and then into Syria, which they've already done, and then they're a few hundred miles from the Israeli border, and then start rolling towards the Israeli border, and there would be missile and drone and aircraft bombing runs on the convoy, and the convoy would never make it to the border, and I think Iran is aware of that. They don't have an air force that anybody's going to take seriously. And them saying they have missiles that can go from Iran into Israel is I wouldn't believe that. They could hit Iraq. They might be able to hit people in the Persian Gulf. They might be able to hit Syria in the east, up by the Iraqi border, even that, but that's about it. The Iranian troops are likely going to attack the American military bases in eastern Syria and near the Iraq border, because they don't want them there, because they want to be able to bring troops and equipment in to attack Israel. So if Hezbollah goes, they probably are foolish enough to start attacking the American troops. Okay. Now, what you might see happen is, since they keep irritating Israel, and they keep shooting occasional missiles, artillery, mortars, gunfire across the border at our troops, anti-tank missiles, but very little, because they don't want to have a big invasion right now. But they want to make a show for themselves. So you might see when the time is right, which can mean there's enough American assets here, and we've contained Gaza, so we don't have to dedicate a lot of troops to it. When we get missiles from Hezbollah, look, shooting a missile into Israel is an act of war. So we just attack back, but we don't just attack back with tit for tat, 1 or 2 missiles. We roll 300 or 400 tanks in, and aircraft start bombing and so forth. We have a right to defend ourselves against people that every day want to shoot missiles, artillery, and mortars into our country, and they've already killed our soldiers. So we don't have to We don't need a cleanup for that. Because if we take Gaza and the Americans go home, a week, a month later, Hezbollah is going to come back. But on this social media platform, I've taken this as far as I think I should. Now, if you really want to follow what's going on in Israel from somebody in Israel, join my Telegram channel. I update it several times an hour, often every 5 minutes, okay, during the war. It's free. The app is free. It's called Telegram Messenger. There's no censorship. I put many videos and many pictures up there. I translate from Farsi, that's Iranian, and put postings from their social media up there. I put Arabic from Lebanon, Hezbollah, Syria, and Gaza. I put those translated into English up there. I translate from Hebrew and put it up there. So you download the app called Telegram Messenger, which is free. Then you send me an email. My email address is in the bottom line of the description box. It's Israel Giving with the number 7 at Gmail. Israel Giving, one word, with the number 7 at Gmail. In the subject header, just write Telegram, and I'll give you the invite link to get into the Telegram group. It's entirely free. The whole process is free. 700 million plus people use Telegram, okay? And I do a lot of commentaries. I do a lot of audio commentaries, a lot of text commentaries. When I put posts up there, I comment on the posts. I put propaganda from the Hamas, Hezbollah people up there at times to show you what they're trying to, the kind of problems they're trying to create for people with propaganda, lies, fake news, as Trump calls it, right? And that's where you're going to get the news coverage. Now, when I look around on Google and I look around on the other social media sites, some of them have a grasp of what's going on, but their news and information are half a day old, 12 hours old, 8 hours old. And they don't know how to do an effective commentary on it. They don't really understand what's going on. They're not here. They're not in Israel. They don't understand. Okay? They can't tell you, wow, I'm up in the Galilee. There's a lot of planes overhead. That means we must be having trouble in Lebanon because this is the north. They can't do that. They can't do real time. You're not going to get them. If you really want to know what's going on, and I give you Bible perspective too. I give you the Bible prophecies and I associate them with what's going on. Okay, they don't do that normally. Or they give you crackpot Bible interpretations. So that's what I tell you to do. I will keep doing updates on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe. If we have big events, I usually do a live stream on YouTube. So, and I only do live. So if you want to go to my channel and look at my Bible studies as they relate to current events and things like that, go to my YouTube channel. And I don't have anything. As soon as I get off the air, people are probably going to stop walking by. It's just when I'm on the air, they walk by. This one has a dog. So they're going crazy because there's another dog. He's just about gone. So my Bible studies are not in the video section of the channel. I have nothing there. It's all on the live. That's where the live streams are. That's what I do. So make yourself you could avail yourself of that. And shut up, Yaffa. Yaffa! Shut up! Shut up! And make sure you subscribe to YouTube and you click the notifications bell so you'll get notified when I come on live. Okay? But if you really want to know what's going on, follow me on Telegram. Telegram has no censorship. Telegram is encrypted. Google cannot spider it. Okay? And that's the best advice I have for you. Okay? And that's what I have for you right now. And I send my Shabbat Shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. And I will keep you updated as best I can. And I am out.